So let's talk about waiting. Because if we're honest, most of us don't like it. We live in a time where everything is instant. Instant food, instant results, instant gratification. So when life doesn't move at the speed we expect, we start feeling like something's wrong, right? But just because you don't see the progress doesn't mean God isn't moving. And sometimes the process is the progress. And you know what the problem is? We get so uncomfortable with not knowing, right? You ever been in a situation where your job felt unstable? Or you weren't sure how you were going to pay next month's rent? And instead of just waiting on God and seeking God and praying for his guidance, you just did something. You did anything to feel like you had control. And we've all been there. That panic sets in and we rush into relationships that aren't healthy because we're tired of being alone. We take jobs that drain us because we're scared we won't get another offer. We say yes to things God never told us to say yes to, all because the wait got too long, it got too loud or too frustrating. But we get ahead of God and we end up trying to fix things that he never told us to start. And rushing doesn't just delay blessings, it can cost us peace, it can cost us purpose, and it can cost us years of our lives trying to recover something we were never meant to carry. And while rushing creates mess, waiting builds strength. And let's just call it what it is. Waiting is uncomfortable. It's frustrating, but it's also sacred. That's where God does his best work in us. And in a culture that glorifies hustle and grind, God is calling us to pause and trust. And he's not a vending machine either. You don't just drop a prayer and press a button for instant results. Waiting develops patience, it develops discipline, and it develops trust. And it teaches you how to keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. It teaches you how to keep believing even when nothing around you looks like it's changing. And think about it. Jesus waited 30 years before stepping into public ministry. David waited years after being anointed to actually become king. Joseph waited in prison before stepping into his purpose. You don't get oil without pressing, and you don't get fruit without timing. But while you're waiting, it's easy to focus on everything you don't have, right? And we say things like, I don't have the money I need. I don't have the job I want. I don't have the support I was hoping for. But sometimes we forget the things that we do have. You still have breath. You still have strength. You still have a chance. You might not be where you want to be, right? But you're definitely not where you used to be. And that alone is worth thanking God for. Gratitude doesn't mean you're ignoring the pain. It just means you're choosing to acknowledge that God is still present in it. And maybe you're in a dry season right now, but don't overlook the fact that you're still rooted in God. You're still here. You still got purpose, and that's not by accident either. And just because things feel silent, it doesn't mean God isn't working. And I get it, right? When you don't hear him, when the door doesn't open, when the prayer goes unanswered, you start to wonder if he sees you, right? If he cares. But God doesn't operate on our timeline. And that's the best thing. He's not panicked. He's not scrambling. He sees the end from the beginning. He knows what you need and when you need it. Maybe that relationship didn't work out because he was protecting you from your future. Maybe that door closed because he saw something you didn't. Maybe this delay is preparing something in you that success would have hidden. And I know that in today's world, letting go of control feels unnatural. But trust me, God isn't about understanding everything. It's about knowing that even when life doesn't make sense, his plan still does. So let me ask you something. What are you trying to rush through right now that God might be asking you to wait on? Is it something that's been keeping you up at night? Is it something you've been trying to force into place? If you're in that space between the prayer and the promise, don't lose heart. Don't let frustration make you forget your faith. Don't let silence convince you that God has forgotten you, because he hasn't. He's still working, he's still faithful, and he's still writing your story. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If this resonated with you, hit the like button and share with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe and join me on this journey, because where impossibility ends, God begins. Stay blessed.